I'm Dieter Schürmann and I'm Commissioner of Police in the state of North Rhine-Westphalia in Germany. Cybercrime, after my opinion, has two parts. On one hand, cybercrime is defined as the attacking cyber technology, cyber infrastructure. And on the other hand, I think cybercrime as well as those acts who take IT technology to commit ordinary crime.
My name is Ross King. I'm a senior scientist at the AIT Austrian Institute of Technology in Vienna in the Department of Digital Safety and Security. The amount of information about us as person, or personal information, has also grown exponentially. Therefore, it is really the frontier of where we need to protect ourselves as well.
My name is Wouter Stol. I'm from the Dutch Police Academy and NHL University of Applied Sciences in the Netherlands, and also from the Open University. The most important crimes at the moment are e-fraud, child pornography and identity fraud.
So my name is Gemma Galdon-Clavel and I work at Ethicas Research and Consulting based in Barcelona. Cybercrime is clearly a new challenge. The amount of new things that can be done online and the amount of new things related to all things that can be done online is massive.
My name is Mike Beke. I work for the company Blomeyer & Sons. Cybercrime, I would look at crime that is committed through the use of specific technology. But there is also an aspect to it that within the investigation, the detection of cybercrime, there is a specific use of technology.
I'm Sara degli Esposti. I'm the director of ISMS Forum Spain. It's a very sloppy concept, and a definition we heard today in the morning during the event I think was extremely interesting. A person said cybercrime is anything which is forbidden by law because it's crime and should have a digital element.
Stefan Strauss from the Institute of Technology Assessment at the Austrian Academy of Science. I think we should look first at how we define crime in the offline world, in a sense, because to me the question is open whether there is actually a big difference or not. One of the differences is actually the dependence of networks and IT systems. But to what degree the systems interfere with the analog world in a way is I think one question we should tackle when we define what actually cybercrime can be or is. What is actually the threat of cybercrime?
Thomas Schwer, Institut für musterbasierte Prognosetechnik aus Oberhausen, Deutschland. Also Cybersicherheit wird eine immer größere Rolle in unserer Gesellschaft spielen, weil auch die Kriminalität, die aus diesem neuen Medium sich ergibt, natürlich auch eine ganz andere und gravierende Dimensionen annehmen wird.
My name is Ulrike Lechner. I'm a professor for information systems at the University of the Bundeswehr in München. A lot of crime nowadays has some IT element in it. And sometimes people talk about cybercrimes and what they mean is, say, two attackers just exchange some email to make sure that they meet at a certain time and a certain day.
My name is Rubindra Prabhu. I work as a project manager for the Norwegian Board of Technology. I think it's important that law enforcement and policing moves into that sphere since we now see a convergence of the physical and the digital in our everyday lives. So it's only natural that law enforcement also moves into that sphere.
I think cybersecurity is most important now for every public area and for every private area.
Society is digitizing and we need to rethink our security and safety matters.
And I think that as a society we're still not fully aware of the challenges and potential of this new space, which sometimes replicates things that happen offline, but sometimes creates new things that we hadn't even envisioned beforehand.
Predictive policing should always be part of the intelligence function. I mean, this is something I think we have lost. I mean, the intelligence is, and what do we mean by intelligence? I mean, the intelligence is it's a concept we use in business. We've been using it for a long time to talk about things we nowadays call big data analytics or data mining. But intelligence is my ability as a human being to ask questions and learn. So I think a lot, something really important about predicting policing is knowledge.
We are more and more dependent on IT systems, and security issues are of course a very, very emerging issue society has to deal with. But it should also not be overestimated.
Also für mich ist Cyberkriminalität erstmal auch ein Medium, wo sich traditionelle Kriminalitätsbereiche oder dem sich auch traditionelle Kriminalitätsbereiche bedienen, um ihre Arbeit effizienter zu machen. Also Drogenhandel bedient sich natürlich dann auch der Cyberkriminalität.
So society is dependent on IT. So think about how we sort of get our money, what we do on an everyday basis to earn our money, what we do to get our entertainment, our information, our news.
As committing crimes becoming faster and faster, the time of reaction is most important for us to combat crime as well, ordinary crime and cybercrime. So predicting crimes is most important. So we have to look for this area of predictive policing also as the area of cybercrime.
I think the most important role will be to identify those areas that are most at risk and identify those areas where preventative measures can be most effective. So, for example, simple security hardening of your passwords, password management, more information about how to identify phishing or social engineering attacks.
It would be basically a possible next step to draw conclusions automatically, hopefully, where a crime could happen, what kind of technologies could be impacted, what kind of targets could be targeted.
I don't think predictive policing exists. I don't think we can predict anything. We can make good judgments and good assessments based on past patterns. And that's the most we can attempt to do. We can learn from the past to try to be able to foresee what may happen in the future. But I think we should never forget to be skeptical about this issue of predictive policing.
I think predictive policing has a very important role to play in cybercrime, also in crime in general. I would see it as a complementary tool to classical forms of detection of crime investigation.
In order to predict anything, we need good data. So we really need to reflect on the kind of good data we have and the kind of prediction we can make based on the data we already have. So that's why I'm very skeptical about the chances of predicting human behavior, because we have very limited data. And we always have a problem with sample size, in the sense that we're trying to predict the behavior of a part of the population which is minimal, which are criminals. So we do not have enough data or enough knowledge.
It's not about predicting anything. It's about how to deal with information about patterns and how to use this information for decision making, which can then under the condition that we critically reflect on this information, do some benefit for police work. But it increases complexity and we need to tackle this complexity.
Also die vorausschauende Polizeiarbeit ist ja nichts Neues. Sie wird ja schon praktiziert. Szenariotechnik bei der Polizei ist ja auch keine neue Sache. Vorausschauende Polizeiarbeit wird immer wichtiger werden. Ich prognostiziere mal, in 10 Jahren werden Systeme, die im Bereich Predictive Policing angesiedelt sind, ganz normal die polizeiliche Arbeit unterstützen. Sie sollte nur transparent sein und wir müssen natürlich auch die gesellschaftliche Diskussion führen, mit welcher Art von Daten wir arbeiten werden.
I'm Fukami from the Chaos Computer Club in Germany.
There's like one thing I would like to say as an expression. Minority Report is not an instruction manual.
I think we have to take care of both parts. Automated policing giving us very good help to solve analysis of big data, and that's what is very complex and can't be solved anymore only by human thinking. And on the other hand, we need human resources to take care of victims and to take care of perpetrators.
In this case, human intervention will always be an enormously important factor because of the problem of false positives. No matter how good our systems are, if someone is tagged as being a likely criminal or likely terrorist, it will always be more likely that they're not, that it's more likely that it's a false positive. In this case, other source of information.
I think both aspects should go hand in hand. The automated policing is very important in order to mine large data sets and make advantage of the data that we have available, but also link this together. By human analysis, you can ensure that there is legitimization, and that way also make sure that crime fighting is something that is credible and legitimate towards the public.
The problem that we see is that security is used to take away all those rights that we fought for a long time. For example, data protection and a couple of other things that tie to like privacy rights that are guaranteed by our constitutions. And IT security is one way of saying, okay, this is, you have to get rid of privacy to be secure.
There has been a lot of attention on computer security, and we are not yet so good at making people aware of how to behave secure in cyberspace.
And I know everyone I've fallen in love with before. That does not mean I know who I will fall in love with from now on. I think it's the same with predictive policing. I can make a good assessment, I can make a good judgment and say, based on my experience, I think it will go along these lines, but you never know.
Problem is, the more you automate the decision, the higher the complexities of the decision and the information based on this process.
Also automatisierte Polizeiarbeit ist natürlich praktikabel, aber ich halte da nicht viel von. Am Ende sollte immer der Mensch das letzte Wort haben. Und ich sage immer ein bisschen ketzerisch, Maschinen reduzieren Komplexität. Sie sind ein Hilfsmittel, aber letztendlich ist der Polizist oder der Mensch an sich der entscheidende Faktor.
If you look at weak signals of what might happen, I think always a human needs to look at it and understand whether this is maybe just a little remark or whether there should be, or whether there is indeed a potential risk.
The important thing, I think, and the real challenge for policymakers then is these tools are helping us automate certain tasks, and in so doing they will necessarily have lots of values built into them, and that's not a problem as such, but it can be a problem if we don't have systems of checks and balances that can tease out these values, and that's not something that's easy to do, and something I think we will have to work a lot on.